Hi, and welcome to my very first webinar, specifically and specially for CAs. So I'm super excited to be here. There are so many of you here, and I'm hanging out. Let's hang out here for like a second. We'll talk about how this even came about and give people a few more minutes just to jump on. So I was chit chatting with a friend of mine who works with the Michigan Association of Chiropractors, and their spring conference is coming up next month. And she jokingly asked me, she said, "Narissa, how long are you willing to speak? Will you come speak to my CAs?" I said, "Of course I want. I would love to come speak to CAs. I've never had that audience before. This is a whole new way of thinking about what I do and pushing me in the direction that I think it naturally belongs in anyway, which is with the front desk." So I said, absolutely. I'm super excited for that. So she jokingly said, "How long are you willing to speak?" And I said, "Oh, all day." Like, you're going to put a room full of people and force them to listen to me. I'll talk all day about what I do in my work, and I love it. So, she took that challenge accepted, jokes on you, and put me in there for a really long time. So I'm super excited about it. So I'm on schedule for 7 hours. And I've broken this down into basically two classes for those 7 hours that I'm going to be teaching. And I'll have the same group for all 7 hours. So they'll be with me for like 3 or 4 hours the first night and then 3 hours the next morning. So Friday night and Saturday morning. So I thought, as I'm going through all of this and creating this content for this, this training that I'm going to do, I thought the best way and the quickest way for me to really flush it out and see how it feels is to host a webinar and share that with all of you. So thank you for being here for that. I'm going to reference my notes probably a good bit, just because, like I said, this is a newer conversation for me. I've been in email marketing. If you don't know and you're new with me and you don't know who I am, I'm Narissa Brumley, the founder of Chiro Connect. I probably should have started with that. But I've been in chiropractic marketing now for over 16 years. And primarily about half of that has been spent in email marketing. And I've just been boots on the ground in email marketing in well over 1,000 clinics now. And now that I have started Chiro Connect and own my own company, I'm working one on one all the time with my team and with our clients, who, by the way, are all of my current clients were absolutely invited to this webinar, just because it's going to be so good for their teams. They can drop off at the sales part. They're already clients and members, so they don't need that part. But definitely it's good for their team to also get to see this. So I'm speaking to kind of in general for CAs, and um, it's less about email so much and more about just the comprehension and the conversation around retention and reactivation. So we'll just jump on in. You know, we'll skip around. It's been a solid 2 to 3 minutes now. We've got a good little bunch. So I'll go ahead and skip any more on my intro about my Michigan masterclass that I'm so excited about. Like, I just can't wait to talk about it. And just so you know, like, I'm so committed to that. And it's gonna end up being a course. And that course I will be definitely giving away to all of my clients, most definitely, and working, probably even like trying to set up Zoom calls with my clients to work one on one to go down the path we're going to just better organize our team and what we intake as far as, the things that you want done in your newsletters and your reactivation campaigns, and the way that we're able to just get those processed faster and put a better system in place. So it's just been it's just a system that's evolved, or our service has definitely evolved and grown much larger and much more comprehensive than it was originally intended to be. So those we're just now really getting to the point where we're like, okay, we see it, we see what's happening. And I can just tell you that the training that I'm doing here for front desk and for CAs is absolutely what's really catapulted that and made me be like, okay, I see now how much better we can work if we have a handoff to front desk. So I'll stop now. Let's jump on in. I know it's your lunch break, and I don't want to take up all of your time. So I'm going to speed through If you have questions, ask your questions. They're going in the chat. Actually, let me throw my Calendly link into the chat right now. I'm in Kentucky. Where y'all from? Say hi, say it in the chat. Let me know where you're from. If you have questions, definitely put them in the chat. I'll answer them. Periodically, I'll stop and check the chat and try to answer them while I'm here. If um, if I don't know the answer right offhand or it's going to take too long, I'll let you know, and then I'll put it in the follow up that I email to all of you guys. I'm also going to send all of you my slides, so you'll have all of my slides. Hi, Trista. I see you, girl. That's one of my clients. Hi, Trista. So I'm going to see her next month in Michigan. All of my clients who are in Michigan so far are registered and going to the event next month. So I'm going to hang out with them, and I'm so excited. Give me your feedback. Definitely know if I'm skipping anything, even though keep in mind I'm condensing over 6 hours into, you know, however long we go here. And there's definitely a replay. If you've got to go and you can't watch this whole thing, there's a replay. I'm going to send info. Oh, North Carolina. Is Dr. Tom, is that you? Hi. And then I see St. Louis, Michigan, Ontario, Canada. Yay, South Florida. Nice. Hi, Dr. Tom. Uh, so he's one of my clients as well. Let me know if you have any feedback. Shoot me an email after this. Let me know what you think. And I'm continuing to work on it. So, anyway, like I said, you're all going to get my slides. You'll get notes after this that I've come up with. And that's really awesome. Dr. Jim, hi. And so I'm excited. So we'll go on. So bear with me here. If you already have this understanding, you know, by all means, chime in if you think I'm missing something. And if your team is doing this really well and I'm missing something, let me know. But we'll go ahead and just get started. So this is a leaky bucket. This bucket is leaking because there are holes in your practice that no one has any idea exist. You know that they're there every time that your schedule starts to poop out. So like you'll have all of your new patients coming in, you're running your ads, you've got referrals, in-office events, all of the things that you've done over the years to bring in new patients into your clinic, onto your schedule, onto your staff schedule. You're pouring those new patients into your bucket, as you see here, and then there are all these little leaks. And over time, you'll notice like your schedule feels so full, and then all of a sudden it's jank, and you're like, "What happened? Why am I now having open slots?" Well, it's because there's a natural drift, and there's that natural drop off that is going to happen regardless. There's always some type of drift. However, you can do anything and and everything possible to decrease it as much as possible. So retention and reactivation are those buzzwords. That's what everybody talks about. Those are the buzzwords that you'll hear a lot of services and a lot of people who serve marketing and chiropractic. So you'll hear that a whole ton with all of your with your ads and your social media and all of that. Um, and it makes sense. Uh, like it certainly makes sense to go down that path for really all of them. But if you don't have a solid understanding of what it means, then they're just mumbo jumbo. So I really wanted to talk about the leaky bucket and understand the fact that there's no fault. Every single clinic has holes in their bucket. You have drift, right? You have all kinds of reasons for that. So we'll move on and discuss it. So basically, what are retention and reactivation? Retention is keeping your patients coming back on the schedule as you, the doctor, recommended. So retention is just that your new patient or your current patient is on schedule and they're coming back as recommended and they're staying active. So you're retaining them week after week, month after month, depending on the schedule. Then reactivation is bringing back your patients who have leaked into the inactive pool. Those are patients who they missed one visit, or they started feeling better for the various reasons, and then they just drop off schedule. Well, then it gets weird and they've not come back. Reactivation is bringing them back in. So a lot of people think because you lump these in together pretty much everywhere, retention and reactivation are kind of lumped. People think that they're the same thing, but they're not. Those are two separate systems in your clinic. So retention, that's where we're keeping everyone and we want them to stay. So that's like when Starbucks, so for instance, if you go to Starbucks and they're writing your name on the cup and you have loyalty rewards and things like that, those are retention efforts that Starbucks uses to get you to constantly be coming back. Now, when you haven't come in a while, the email that you get about your rewards to like use your loyalty rewards, or you get a free little drink in your account, something like that, that's a reactivation effort. So almost every business that I'm aware of has retention and reactivation efforts. So it's just spotting those, once you kind of know where the holes are and where those holes and those leaks occur, it's now spotting them and then fill in the gap. So let's see here. So let's spot the retention leaks. So for this one, I am going to revert back to my notes just for a quick sec here. So yeah, um, this is where we spot the retention leaks. So remember, this is where retention is where you're trying to keep them coming back and you're trying to keep them on schedule, and you don't want to start the pattern of the missed appointments and the not coming in, which would then lead them down the road to reactivation. So retention is first. That's what you start pretty much from day one that they come in. And so these are the three biggest places that I see like the drop off for retention in almost every single clinic that I've worked with. And I'll have to tell you, in the first 15 14 years of my career, I worked in the trenches. I started out, I actually started out as customer service and then worked my way up to being a partner in that business, and then started my own business. And I have to tell you, so I've worked much, very closely from the very beginning, from the ground, from the front desk, from the CA's perspective of bringing someone on board. And I'm doing that every day right now as a business owner myself with all the clients that are here with me today. So it early care, and it's so hard because it's so busy and it's so, I get it because things are everywhere. Even though this is an online business for me, I understand, in your clinic, like the phones are ringing, people are emailing, the phones are ringing, they're texting, they're coming in, they're standing in front of you, the doc needs you, and you have all of this going on. So I get that it's busy, and that is literally the reason. Like there's no mad scheme out there. There's no training for this. There's no training for marketing in chiropractic school. So when you get out of chiropractic school, docs, you all know there's no training for that. If you've not had this training and you don't have the understanding, how can you pass it on to front desk? Therefore, front desk and CS, they just don't know. No one knows. So that's the whole point of this course. And why I'm doing this is that it just so clearly, I can see that gap. And the fact that I've gone so many years doing this and missed the gap, but now I see it so clearly working with all of you, and working especially like with Trista. I chat with Trista. She gets it. She messages me when she's on it. She's on me. She's letting me know we need a new photo inserted this week. We've got a giveaway coming up. And then, can you make sure that this gets in the giveaway? Here's the post for that. Go look here. Like, she's on it and she's sending me in the direction and telling me what to do, while, Dr. Todd is doing what he needs to do with patients. So now that I see the way that this is working out in such a clear way, I'm so excited for it that I just think that I couldn't be more sure that the further we go into retention and reactivation, this lives with the CA and it lives in the front desk. So anyway, and this is the this, I don't want to get too lost and too crazy with it, but um, this is those spots. This is where, so as a CA, I'm talking to all of you right now. I'm only talking to CAs. This is where you see it. So these are the very first spot is in early care. This is going to be in the first 2 to 4 weeks. So they're starting care, they're excited, they come in a couple of times, momentum, never really builds, and then they're done. I know that you've seen that. Then here's a big one, the I feel better phase. Everybody knows this phase. This is gonna, mid plan, you're coming in, their pain is down, they think that they're fixed. and they've mentally declared themselves done and graduated from the program. And then the third is the one that I think is the most critical here, and that is the first missed appointment. And that is because first missed appointments, especially no shows, are an instant feeling of guilt and awkwardness, and then if you don't reschedule right away, you start to have some sort of feeling about coming back, and it's just a negativity that grows. And that's why most no shows are gone forever. And there's I know that no shows suck. I've also owned my own brick and mortar business for a couple of years. So I also had a brick and mortar, and it was a service based business as well. Well, that was a service based beauty business. And I can tell you, I got no shows all the time. It's very frustrating. I get it. But in most cases, that no show, it really is, it's just an accident. It's just a blip. They're really sorry. They're just, now they feel weird about calling and saying sorry. They're afraid you're mad. So I think that that's a really good spot. And we're going to like dive deep into each one of these. So um, let's talk about early care. So this is, I don't know why my slides are overlapping like that. I don't know what the webinar system does to it, but anyway, I apologize for that. It won't look like that when you get it. So this is where, so CA makes scheduling the next 2 to 4 visits non-negotiable. So instead of saying, all right, let's get, just your first visit going, this is where or your next visit, like your first adjustment. So I think it's typically like, you come in for your consultation. And so in my experience, and I know everybody is a little bit different with their consultations. So go with me for a second. So in my experience, like I come in for my day 1 and I have my consultation, then I come in for my day 2 and we have, my report of findings. And then it's after that that they're like, okay, let's get your first official visit, booked. This is where I want you to think about getting the first 2 to 4 visits. If you're not doing that now, I don't want them to walk out saying, okay, maybe later. This is where you want to go ahead and say something simple like, let's lock in your next few visits now so momentum keeps building. I know life gets busy fast. Let's go ahead and get you on schedule now so we can keep that momentum going. Then after like visit 2 or visit 4, however many, the next time that you need to get them back on schedule, how's it feeling? Let's keep going. When works next? So these are those tiny moves that keep them from disappearing in the early care. It's you want to let's go ahead and get the first 2 to 4 visits on point, and then by then now they're really starting, they're getting it, they're starting to feel better. And now let's start building off of that so that we're always at minimum 2 points booked ahead. So that's one way to sort of, you know, definitely start closing up that leak. The next um, is the I feel better phase. And this is the one that's like so frustrating. And, I feel like I was guilty of this one time myself. I injured my back, and in reality, it took probably 6 months for that to go away. But probably after like 2 visits, 3 visits, when I started feeling better, I was like, oh no, I'm fine now. Like, I don't have that injury anymore. And then I was like, oh no, I can go back to my normal schedule. So, my normal schedule of coming every other week, so I was like, I'm good. I can come back in just 2 weeks. Absolutely untrue. My injury was not better. My injury kept on for a good while. I ended up, I did have a legitimate injury. So it took a while. And my doc was telling me I just wasn't listening to him. And even doing what I do now, the fact I wasn't listening to my doc is ridiculous. I know it. So I feel better phase is just, I think we're all guilty of that. So this one happens mid plan, pain drops, I'm fixed, they stop showing up, they never finish the recommended visits because they think that they're better, and they think that they're moving on, but they never actually move on to maintenance. So basically they decide that they're done, and this is how you want to try and plug that gap. So let's plug that first at the feeling better visit. And this is like mid plan when you know that they're really feeling better and they're singing the praises, and quickly explain the difference between symptom relief, which is step 1, and then long-term stability, which is the goal. So this is where you want to say something simple like, oh, you're killing it, your pain is down because we're fixing the root cause. Now, let's finish the plan so we keep these results long term. And let's get the next 2 to 4 visits booked for you right now. So you want to just keep that in mind, and all through the plan, all through maintenance, keep those 2 to 4 visits ahead and keep it in their mind. This is a non-negotiable. Like, they're coming. They have appointments, they're coming. This is a habit. This is something that they do regular. So um, let me see here. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything good that I came up with for this one. So yeah, let's get your next visit booked on the books now. It's how we prevent that pain from coming back. So that's it. It's one clear explanation, one pre-booked visit stop, and no long speeches, no pressure there. You don't have to do too much. So, all right, let's move on. We've got the I feel better. And now the last one, this is last but not least. And I just want to tell you that I write all of the content almost pretty much. So for patient facing, that is a mixture between me and um, healthcare copywriters, and they're all chiropractors. So that's about probably 50% me, 30% them, 20% make this sound a bit smarter with AI. And then you've got, oh, hold on one second. Sorry guys, but this one could be, oh no, just a test. Sorry, that was my son's college emergency alert. That one I'll interrupt anything for, but it was just a test, so he's safe and sound. Okay, no emergency at school. Woof. Anyway, this one I feel like. So anyway, I write almost all of the content that goes out. So patient facing, definitely there's the chiropractic approval that goes there that makes that patient facing. Anything else that comes from me, I'm writing, like my emails, my newsletters. If you're not getting my newsletters, please let me know, because I spend so much time writing those. Like, you have no idea. I pour my heart and soul into those just to try and help you guys. And they're crazy long, and everything in there is I think is valuable. So let me know if you're not getting them. But I'm saying all of that to say that out of all of the content that I've written, I always pop it into AI and have AI tell me what it thinks, about this. And I did this as well for these 3 things. I put these into ChatGPT, into Grok. We had discussions. Now they tell me, and I'm going down this long path because I want you guys to tell me. They tell me, Grok AI tells me that early care is where the drop off happens, and I think that the long term drop off and the real culprit, in my opinion, is this right here, and that is this first missed visit. This is where I think that people panic, and this is where I think that the gap grows and that they turn into reactivation. They fall into the reactivation pool. So this is where I think that sort of that transition from retention into reactivation is probably most prevalent. If you think it's different, please drop in the chat and let me know. But I see that to me, this is the one that's most critical. So this is the only one that I recommend to text in. And this is the one that it is right away. And it is because I want you to have empathy, and CAs, I'm talking to, this is to you, this is to front desk. I want you to have empathy. I want you to not be irritated, because I can tell you, I know, like I said, I've been no showed. It's annoying. I don't want you to be irritated. I want you to immediately be like, oh no, this person, maybe they had some terrible thing happen. Dang it, that happens, even though it's frustrated. And then immediately be like, no worries. What happened? Oh no, we missed you. So basically, this is the one where the guilt and the awkward and where the this is the anxious generation, right? So this is one more little thing to throw a notch onto the anxious generation. So I want to like alleviate that anxiety and say, all right, there's no reason to have that. Let's just get you rescheduled and get you back in. No big deal. And now, woof, nobody's mad. Nobody's, upset. That anxiety goes away. So this is one, like I said, the anxious population has too much anxiety to come back because they think that they did something wrong here. So the first thing to do is just acknowledge it right away. I want you to send a same day text or call, uh, and say, hey, what happened? Saw you didn't make it in. And then whenever they tell you what happened, you say, oh, no worries. Life happens. I get it. We missed you today. And, no problem. It's normal to miss visits. It's normal to have emergencies happen, and no big, no big deal. You couldn't make it in, whatever. All of that good stuff. I want you to have that same nonchalance attitude and say, no big deal. Let's get you back on track so you don't lose your progress. That's the only thing I want you to just, no problem, no big deal, whatever. It was a pain in my butt, but I don't really care. Uh, let's move on from that, because the number one thing that we want to do is let's just get you back on schedule so you don't lose your progress. You're feeling better, awesome, that's great. Oh, I don't want to lose that. Let's get you back on schedule. Let's go ahead and get like your next two booked now, so that we make sure, that doc's able to check on you real good. So that's what you want to do. And then you want to give them super easy options. This is where you're saying, I've got tomorrow at 3 or Thursday at 10, which works better for you. Let's get you in right away so we can get you, checked out. I don't want to backslide. So it's quick empathy, then close the spot. And what you're doing now is you're turning one awkward, anxious, no show and missed visit into, a comeback. And they're just coming back, and now they're not going into that reactivation pile. See how this is that separate thing, and how now with retention, this is all just about keeping those visits, keeping the habit, keeping them coming in. So now we'll transition to reactivations. And basically, these are the reactivation links that I see. Now, we handle this several different ways, depending on the time of year and depending on the clinic. So, reactivation, like I said earlier, this is where we are plugging holes. Um, well, I'm gonna still call them holes because they really are holes, but the whole leaky bucket analogy just still feels weird here. So we'll switch gears, and I don't know, we'll carry on. We'll see. I'm saying all of this out loud for the very first time, and I'm so sorry that that it's rambly, but we're working on it. So next, by the time you get this in like a whole course, and this is going to be like something really good. This will be like, a 10 10 lesson course. I'll have it all edited and dialed in. But again, so zero fault to anyone, because life just happens and people drift, and you didn't know these other bucket, or these other leaks to fill in your bucket. You didn't know that before with retention. Now that you've got it, now that you understand retention, and now you're making that leak smaller, we got fewer people going into the retention or going into the reactivation pool, but we've got people there. There's always going to be people there no matter what we do. And if you've been in practice anything longer than 5 minutes, you've got the reactivation list right now. So CAs, I'm talking to you. This list lives in your EHR. So if you're using like Jane or Chiro Touch or Chiro HD or any of those EHRs, that's where you're gonna find this. Now, if you have questions after this and you're not sure about your EHR, when it comes to this part, I want you to definitely email me, narissa@getchiroconnect.com. You can email me, or reply to any of my emails. Those will come to me as well. And basically, like, let me know specifically first which EHR you're using, and then what version, and then I'll be able to help you like dial in the exact steps to pull these lists. So I'm not abandoning you on this. You're going to definitely get help with the list. I just need to know like what EHR you're using and kind of which version, and then we'll dig around and get some instructions for you. So I just wanted to say that before we started down this path, and then you're like, where the hell do I get this? So don't panic. I will help you. If you know already how to do it, you're a rock star, get her done, like fabulous. But anyway, so reactivation, we'll move along. So we're going to switch gears. Reactivation is recovering the ones who already did leak out. And this is, you've already got this list hanging out there. And keep in mind, doc, if you're listening, you've already spent a fortune for this list. If you had paid ads running, the average person, I think, or the average clinic pays something like $2,500 a month for paid ads. So if you're on paid ads, you're investing $2,500 a month. Any type of talks or community involvement, the amount of money that it takes for you to invest in that marketing, and then the sweat equity from you and your team to make it all happen. You've built that list of patients that you have in your EHR right now. That list is your gold mine, and this reactivation list, That's the list that's just kind of hanging out, that's just like low hanging fruit for you to pick off. And now that's revenue waiting to come in. Now this takes that money that you spent acquiring all of these patients and acquiring that list, and it takes that money further. So where paid ads cost you, $2,500 a month to bring in people at $299 a month for email with Chiro Connect, we're going out here and consistently trying to bring this back, this list that's been hanging out that you've already acquired. So now that money that you've spent, your marketing money, is going further, and you're getting more ROI out of those dollars as well. So docs, that one was for you. CAs, I'm back to you. So um, so what I want to see here is, so first of all, it's the first 60 to 90 days inactive. So these are the first 2 to 3 months are gone. Life got busy. They're feeling better. They meant to call back. The gap feels, they feel awkward, and now they're not sure how to restart. This is that sweet spot. 60 to 90 days. This is the sweet spot. These are the most doable. These are the easiest to get back on. Now you go into 6 to 12 months inactive, and now half a year's gone. So symptoms are creeping back, something new has popped up, but they drifted from their initial plan. They think it's been too long, and then they worry over starting from scratch. And they remember that care plan and the cost of the care plan occurred, and they're thinking, oh no, I have to start from scratch. So financially, that's probably where they're at as well. Like, financial is an issue, and then especially when you get to 1 year inactive and over, and now there's more than a year gone. They're maybe 2 years in. Quick thing, I brought in a new client. We had back at the end of the year, so in December, I brought in a new client, and she emailed me after her very first newsletter went out, and had reactivated someone from 2017. And then she emailed back that same night and had reactivated a patient, jumped on her schedule from 2019. So like, these efforts are real. So when I say, shoot that email out, like, shoot that email out, get in there. If you can't, if you're wanting to DIY it and you want to do it on your own and do things like that, like, cool. But anyway, we'll go into more detail, but I just wanted to share that you can reactivate. Don't let this 1+ year catch you up or put you, in a frame of mind. Sometimes I have docs say, well, how long should I go back? Rule of thumb is 3 years. I'll be completely honest, docs. We've been going, so some of my newer docs in the last 6 months, we've gone all the way back 5 years. I've had some docs just send me their whole list. I take the whole list, run it through a validation system so that we're removing all of the bad emails. And now what we have is a fresh list of good emails. I can tell you right now, I feel silly for saying only go back 3 years. Like, I'm starting to treat COVID as 1 year in and of itself because it was such a strange period of time. So, if you're my client, some of you are on here, and I told you, like, we only went back 3 years or 5 years. I don't know. Send me your list again, and let's send me the whole list. Better yet, if you're my client and you're hearing this, I did meet with one of my clients last week, and I've been going through it. So one of my clients just added me to the EHR, and so now I'm able to literally in real time go in, see the reactivation emails that we're sending out, go in and look on his schedule, see who clicked, see who made it onto schedule, and then shooting his wife, who is his lovely front desk, shooting her a message and saying, "Hey, these people have shown great intent." And while I'm normally not pushing that advanced, in this case, this doc runs his clinic on spinal decompression. That's his number one bread and butter, and those are the people we're trying to reactivate. And he wants them in, so he says, I want to be the most aggressive. What should I do? So, most aggressive is, we're looking, I'm bouncing off his calendar. I've now taught her how to do that so that I'm not the one that has to go check a schedule. I've taught her how to do that. She's checking a schedule, and now she's getting those spinal decompression appointments booked. And that's so, another thing, that's what you want to do. And this all stems from reactivation campaigns and from newsletters. So we'll move on now, because I want to get just a little bit more detailed about each of these segments. So CAs, this is for you. This is where this is where those action steps come into play. And again, if you have questions, email me, and we can discuss them out. So first is that 60 to 90 day inactive pull. So life got busy, they felt better, they meant to come back, they didn't. This is the easiest one to bring back. So they're still fresh enough that coming back feels doable. They don't feel like a big financial pressure from that, things like that. So you definitely want to always have something going out in that 60 to 90 days inactive. So this is where, so you want to send like a gentle reconnect email. My notes here say text or email. I should have removed text. After thinking on it, when I was billing this out, I went back and meant to remove text. So back to earlier, I think that text is should only be used in these cases. I think that text should only be used um, for the first missed visit, not for these. These are email only. Text is just too invasive and too aggravating. Um, in this text is just, I mean, the faux pas is to call, right? So, like, even texting is feeling aggressive now. So, after that first missed visit, I feel like text is totally down. But email is where it should be at for these. So, this is where you're like, hey, it's been a couple of months. How's everything feeling these days? Last time we helped you with insert the pain of the issue. Has anything been creeping back? We're here whenever you're ready. So, and then you want to give them a super easy way to take the next step. So, this could be that same thing that you did after that first visit where you're like, I've got tomorrow at 3 or Thursday at 10, however you want to phrase it. Or I've got a few spots this week. What's best for you? Something like to that degree, but it's gentle. There's no guilt. There's no pressure, and it's just a gentle reminder that they might start. They might not be feeling their best anymore because it's been 60 to 90 days. Let's get you back in. Now, once we get to the 6 to 12 months, that 6 to 12 month gap, when they're there, and again, like I told you earlier, all of this lives within your EHR. This you can use. Most EHRs have a last visit, like a first visit and a last visit. You can narrow down your contacts and your patients based on that criteria. So again, if you need help with that, just let me know, and be sure to let me know, which EHR and what version you're using. So back to the 6 to 12. So again, this should be email only, and this is where the symptoms are definitely creeping back up. Probably something new has happened because they're probably those original symptoms have crept back up. Now they're compensating, for that. So now they're hurting somewhere else because they're compensating for that original pain, and they've drifted from their initial plan. So even if they were in maintenance and now 6 to 12 months has gone by, they think it's too long. They're going to have to start over from scratch. They're going to have to do another care plan again. And now there's going to be that big upfront cost. So that's kind of where their thought process goes into this. So this is where, again, you just want to reassure them. So the first thing you want to do, will they need a care plan? Maybe. If they've got injury, will they need to come in a little bit more than normal? Maybe. If they've got new injuries, duh. But they're not starting back over in the same way that they initially did. And that's where you just want to make that clear for them. So this is where you're like, hey, patient, it's been a while. We're thinking of you. How's the original issue going? How's that been? And then you want to have like a low pressure invite. There's no need to start over. I've got a quick check-in spot available this week or next. List those off, just like we've been doing. I've got Wednesday at 3, Thursday at 1, and let me know what works for you. That's it. The most important thing here is you want to keep that personal touch, that pain, that goal, that original issue. So there are ways that you can do this automatically. But if I were you, if you're a CA or you're a doc and you're thinking, okay, how am I gonna do this? And you figure out how to get into your EHR, you ask me, I send you the instructions, or we get in there together, we pull your 6 to 12 month inactive list, and we say, okay, let's look those names over, let's look those conditions over. And we may not have to get so specific that you're sending these one-on-one. It's that we're getting a little bit general and we're starting to break those audiences up. So you just want to make sure that you're acknowledging that this person came in for some reason, and whatever that reason was, you're reminding them of that, you're acknowledging it, and now we're trying to get them back in, and that there's no reason to start over. So now This is that 1+ year inactive. This is the one that gets freaking iffy. This is the one that made me say, my doc that emailed me and was like, I just reactivated someone from 2017. This is crazy. And then she sent me an email late that night. She's on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. She said, oh my gosh, I just got another one for 2019, just got on my schedule. The excitement from that was number one amazing. It made my night. I know it made hers. It certainly made mine. My whole teams, we were so excited. But this is where I'm not focusing so much on restricting your patient list so much as just making sure that we weed out any bad email addresses that would affect your deliverability. With I use mail floss. I pay for that. That's one of the initial costs that we incur. That there's no setup fee to join ChiroConnect, but that's just an initial cost that we incur setting up your account. So if you yourself are doing this and you're going to DIY in Mailchimp, go ahead and pay the $10 or $20, depending on the size of your list, to validate it so that you're not hitting. That's the only thing I say about this one and about that big list is validation is key. So, because as soon as you send to bad email addresses and MailChimp or a DIY sees that you're emailing bad email addresses, it's going to spit that back. It's going to say, oh, we're going to stop sending because you're spamming. You clearly haven't been emailing these people to know that their emails are bad. So we're going to put a stop to you. So validation is super important. And it's MailFloss, I think probably like mailfloss.com, something like that. But if you are joining, if you end up joining ChiroConnect at any point in time in the future, we do that for you. But definitely you want to take that step if you're going to mass email this one. So saying all of that to say, now this is where we want to look back. This is where we want to give like a story driven email. So you want to be warm here. You want to be welcoming, and we want to be a little bit more story driven. So this is less about their initial thing and trying to get them to remember how good they felt and come back, and more about sharing the success that they had and just, um, and successes that all of your clients have had. So here's where you kind of want to like, reconnect with that story driven. So we were just looking back at some of our favorite success stories and remembered how far you came last time. And then you want to reconnect with proven results. You made progress with, and insert that pain and issue again. If anything's creeping back or you want to stay ahead of it, we'd love to help you keep those gains. And then you want to offer a low risk, high reward first step. This is important. So rarely will you ever hear it come out of my mouth that I think it's a good idea for you to ever, and I sincerely mean ever, offer discounts. I am not a big discount person. Now, if you're starting a new therapy, if you got, soft wave or something like that, and you're starting a new therapy and you're offering a discount or you offer a discount with packages, I think that those things are truly appropriate. What I don't love are like, the $29 where you're just struggling to get this person in. It's a low quality lead, it's a low quality, NP, and that's not what I want. So you'll never hear me be, the person that's out here saying, all right, doc, you know what'll really work? Let's offer it for $29. No, what really works is your care. So, but in this case, in this one-time case, I think it's appropriate sometimes if you're going to have an offer that this is where you put that offer in. So you just want to throw in no long commitment needed. You're not coming back in for anything crazy. No long commitment. Come in for a quick check-in. We'll review where we're at and we'll map out what's next. That's what you want to say. So we want to let's review where you're at, and you say let's. Don't say I'm going to see. We're going to see. We're a team in this. We're a team for your care together. So let's get you back in. Let's review where you're at, and then we're going to map out what's next for you. I've got spots this week or next, which is best. So see how easy that is. So that's it. It's a story reminder. You're going to be value focused here, and then a tiny first step. It makes too long to come back feeling like this is not a restart. This is like a, hey, where you been? So you're just rekindling right there. So I love it. I like it. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I haven't seen any come in so far. Um, if you get any, email them to me, most definitely. And if you guys send me questions, what I'll probably do is kind of pull them at the, maybe in like a few days, pull them all together, and then I'll email you questions and answers to all of those things. So, and if you're watching the replay because you couldn't attend live, no problem, no big deal. Same thing. I don't care if it's like in a month from now. I don't care if it's, you know, if it's a year from now, because uh, it that's what reactivation is all about. You may join my webinar. It's the same thing for me. So retention and reactivation, it's the same thing. We're 2 years into our business, and knock on wood, we've had 4 cancellations, and a couple of those cancellations were more me pushing the client out, just because just wasn't a good fit. It wasn't a good fit for us. It wasn't a good fit for them. So push them out. One of them hired someone internally, which was a great move for them. They were a super big clinic, and I get it, but that's already fell apart. So that person will probably, end up being back. And then one of the people I blacklisted because they're just rude. And I'll just tell you right now, I'm not down for rude. So, and I don't even have a blacklist, but I love James Spader and that show. So it's stuck in my mind, and I'm going with it. So I'm definitely got one that I don't really care for my team being talked down to, or myself being rude. And I certainly, I just won't tolerate your team being rude either. So that one had to go. I can see why they were struggling. But so far, all the rest of the clients that I have, I know you all, my entire team knows every single one of you on a first name basis. There is not a client that we have that I don't know you, half of your team, what you all look like. We stalk you on social. We know everything about you, and really that's how I feel like retention and reactivation works in your clinics. The more that I work with you, and the higher level that I see that your team takes it, the same level that we're taking. And it really, it's what makes me so excited to sort of transition what I believe should go from a doc run marketing initiative to CA and front desk. So anyway, back to my slides here. So that's retention and reactivation in a nutshell. It's your schedule's best friend. Retention, plug the leaks so patients don't disappear. Reactivation, we're bringing back the ones that do. It's just the cycle. It's the cycle of life. So front desk, you handle the first protection. Email handles your follow through and your reconnect. Both of these are tracked monthly with, just a simple spreadsheet to just see where you're at. And now we'll talk about that for just a sec. So this is where you want to stop guessing, and instead you want to pull the numbers, and you want to see where you're at. So now all I'm giving you here are 3 super simple numbers for you to pull, because I just want to make it as easy for you and low barrier as possible. There, it can definitely get much more complicated, and the more complicated you go, probably the better it is as far as tracking. You want to like really track the efforts that you're doing to see what's working where, and then know to do more of that. So initially for this, you'll hear more about that in my training. If you're going to be with me in Michigan next month, you will hear more about that then next month. And then after that, when I make a course out of it, obviously there'll be a lot more detail, and we'll go way deeper into tracking, because that is important. But there's no reason to overcomplicate it. So at the end of each month, what I want you to do, and honestly, once you learn to pull these numbers, what I would like you to do is you can start your baseline, go back a couple of months and see where you've just been at, and see how this goes. So, and CAs, this is for you. This is not for docs. This is fully for CAs. So, like I said, this is where your EHR comes into play, your Jane, your Chiro Touch, your Chiro HD. Some of you are on paper. If you're on paper, that's fine. Go to the schedule and just count it up from the schedule. So what I want you to do is see, number one, how many patients did we see last month? How many people missed and didn't reschedule? So if you had 20 people, this one's not so much of an EHR one. If you had 20 people who missed, I want you to go back in. You may have to go back in and see if they rescheduled, but take the 5 minutes to do it. It's a super quick thing Take the 5 minutes, jump in, see if each person rescheduled. You may have only had 5 people no show or 2 people no show. Go in and see if they rescheduled. If not, that's that number one gap I told you about. I want you to get on the horn with them. Even if it's calling them, I want you to text them. I want you to do something and say, hey, saw you didn't come in. What happened? Let's get you back on schedule. So, um, so how many people missed and didn't reschedule? And then how many people came back after being gone for a while? So how many people hadn't been in for a minute and then came back in? So like I said, if you don't know how to pull these, hit me up with your HR. We'll figure it out. I'll be completely honest. What I've been doing with my clients for EHR questions is straight up, I've been going to ChatGPT, detailing out the problem and having it give me step-by-step instructions. I've been doing it for myself, which is why I've started doing it for you guys. You can try that route on your own first, but if you're not using chat or anything like that, just send it to me and I'll help. So we're not building like a super crazy spreadsheet sheet. We just want to see a snapshot. Because right now, most of you are just guessing and you don't really know what these numbers are. And especially like front desk may not know. The doc may feel it because let me tell you, just speaking from the doc's perspective and CA's front desk, I'm talking to you, is that your doc is a business owner, your doc is running the clinic, seeing patients, and then handling, in most cases, the financial aspect of it. Now, do work with a lot of wives too, and sometimes wives and office managers handle financial, but the burden is on the doc. I can tell you right now, with almost every doc I've worked one-on-one with, when you get to day one, which is the first day of the month, and now you start all over with all of your expenses, as a business owner, I feel that. As a one-time brick and mortar business owner, I feel that when the first of the month hits and you've got office rent, utilities, payroll due again, you're going to know what these numbers are. And if you don't, you need to, because this is how you stop that panic. Is now we're putting a system to it. Now we know what that number is. And who needs to know that number? Your CA, because your CA is the front desk, is the first person who sees your clients and speaks to or not your clients, your patients, sees your patients and speaks to your patients when they come in. So your CA is your very first person who is interacting with your patients when they come in. They're the person who's getting them on schedule and rescheduling, coming back to see you. They're your offense and your defense pretty much every step of the way. So you want them to absolutely. Oh, hey, Dr. Clay, I just saw your email. I just saw it pop up, and I'll definitely get back to you after this. Um, but your CA needs to know these numbers, and it's important that you know them, but it's also important, if you do know them, that you're sharing them with your team, because it's important for your team to know this too. They need to know that this is their efforts here are what's make or breaking it for this. And I didn't put this in any of my notes and I haven't acknowledged it yet, but I do want to say that one of my most advanced clinics, he has two great practices. They're super advanced in their marketing. They have so much going on. I work with their front desk staff. I have a dedicated team, a couple team members at each clinic that's wrangling me and I'm wrangling them. We work together. And I can tell you right now that one thing he did tell me is that the thing that has made the most impact for him, and this doc has put his team through a lot of training. So this doc is a TRP member. If you're familiar with the Remarkable Practice, it's a coaching program. He's a systems guy. And he told me that the most important thing, and he definitely told me to say this no matter what. He told me to put this in my training next month in Michigan. He's not in Michigan, so he won't be there. But he said he wanted this in my training, that this works best, Doc, when you share this responsibility with your front desk and your CA, and then you tie reward to it and you tie compensation to it, not for their overall job, but for a bonus, as a bonus. When a CA and when front desk assume this role, they see this system and they take it on as their own. This is something that they're doing that is literally bringing revenue into your clinic, and they can most definitely track that. That's actually what my whole spiel. So my whole course, the second half of my training next month is going to be training CAs on how to take this whole system, make it theirs, and basically report revenue back to their doc every month. And I would be remiss if I did not listen to my most advanced doc that I personally know, who is just killing it with marketing if I didn't listen to him when he tells me that every single time I talk about this, I need to say that so that docs know, because CAs will will feel awkward bringing it up themselves, and that I should definitely let not docs know and CAs know that when you get to that point, and you really put the system into play, that this is something that CAs should be rewarded for and recognized for, because this is not just any front desk and CA job. This is advanced, and this is hard, and this is next level training, and they should be congratulated at that. So CAs, I'm saying it right now to you. I want you to know that I see you, and this is where I hope that your doc sees you too and hears that. So I'm not trying to piss anybody off or start. Don't send me an angry email, because if you do, I'm sending it to my doc that told me to say it. But I'm definitely saying it right here because it's something he told me that is single-handedly makes the difference. Is you want your team to own this, and you want your team to feel like um, that they're being rewarded and being acknowledged at the very least for doing such a good job. So we'll move on down the road here. So going back to that, everything I just said, this only works if someone owns it. I got ahead of myself. So now that you can see it, you've got the numbers, you've spotted the leaks, you see where most clinics get stuck. Uh, Nobody is owning it. So it's not the doc's job to manage this daily. It's absolutely the system. It's not the system's job to just do the work. It's not a guessing game. But what it is it lives at the front desk. So this is CA, because you control the schedule, you control the follow up, you control the patient experience between visits. So when no one owns it and everyone's just guessing, and there's no one's teaching you this. So no one's at Life University teaching a class on retention and reactivation. So no one's teaching, you're not going to CA school, like you're not in CA college. You may take courses or a little training, training classes. I know that Kim Clapp has one. Dr. Clapp uh, has an amazing CA program, so you can check with her. I know that there are CA training programs. If you are not, um, she's also based in Michigan. I hope to see her next. I've never met her in person, and I hope to get to meet her next week or next month. If you have questions about CA coaching and training and things like that, I can point you in a nice direction. That's not what we do, but um, we do it in terms of retention and reactivation, but I know that there are a whole lot of other systems in play, and there are a lot of great coaching out there. So anyway, CAs, this is where you are, like, this is your time to shine. So like, this is where you know where the leaks are, how and where to go look for them, and now you just want to start reporting that back to your doc, and you want to start seeing what you're doing. So if you're seeing what you're doing, you know what? Let's move on, because that's actually the very next slide. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's see. This is what it looks like when it's working. I had to scroll along. I've not been keeping up with my notes. I've just been winging it. So, um, no, I always say I'm winging it, but I really never am. So, because this is not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. You want to start with the fewer missed. So you want to start with the fewer missed visits. So that's going to be like your number one goal. You want to go fewer missed visits. Then you want to go more patients finishing their care plan, by making sure that those 2 to 4 visits, are always booked out. And then you want to move them into maintenance. Instead of disappearing, you want to move them into maintenance, reassure what happens, that they're feeling better. That's awesome. They've graduated their care plan, and now we want to keep that momentum going and keep that same great feeling. So this is that biggest shift. So what you want to see is you want to see more visits, fewer missed, and more reactivated. So you want to see more people from that reactivation list coming back in. You may get in that reactivation list and see like this is funny. I was on a call maybe like a week or 2 weeks ago with one of my docs. So we were on a call, and This was our very first call that we ever had where we got on together. She's an older doc and she's not tech savvy or anything like that. So we got on together and I logged in and we one by one went through her performance report from probably February. So this is probably like a week or maybe 10 days ago. So we went one by one through everybody that clicked and made sure who got on your schedule, and then we went to the unsubscribes. She was so offended that people had unsubscribed from her newsletter. Like she was just so irritated. And there's nothing wrong with unsubscribes. Those are people that just need to fall off. So that's fine. That happens. But we went one by one through her unsubscribes, and she saw like people in there she absolutely felt like should not be there. And so it made me think about the reactivation list. She was literally like, I hope she's not on here. I'm not saying her name and calling you out. I didn't see you on here. But if you are and you want to acknowledge yourself, go ahead in the chat. But she said she saw one on the unsubscribe and she said, I'm calling her mother. She was so just offended by this person. She thought it was so rude that she didn't want to read her newsletter. So she said, I'm calling her mother to let her know that she unsubscribed. But that's how I feel about your reactivation list. Your unsubscribe list, that's fine. Like some people don't want email. Like it is what it is. Most of the people that unsubscribe, I will tell you 99% of the time, if you're one of my clients and you're hearing this right now, if you've got unsubs or you've got people that come in and they're like, well, I didn't get your email, send me their email address, because sometimes I check that and they unsubscribed. And most times they don't mean to unsubscribe, or they didn't know what they were doing, or whatever. That happens all the time. And we want to resubscribe those people. But that's how I feel about your reactivation list. I feel like as a CA, as front desk, you're going to know those names just as good as anyone else. And when you, especially if you've been there for a while, even if you went back and you pull like the last, 1 to 3 years, take a gander at that look. You might have, a lot of people on there, but you could probably pick off a quick 20 that that you think, hey, these people would be back in, and individually email those 20, hey, what's up? Follow this scripting. Like I said, I'm sending you the slides. Um, you know, but it's definitely worth it. So that name recognition matters. And that's, it's funny because I never even put that together until I went through the unsubscribe list with my docket like 10 days ago. And I was like, this is what you should be doing with your reactivation list. If you are so quick, I bet CAs can look at that list, see it, and spot a quick 20 that you want to get an email out to right now, and try and get, a handful of those back on schedule. All right. So that's it. So here's how we help with this. That's it for my education part. If you have questions and you want to know more and talk more, by all means, book a call with me. I probably was supposed to put more links into the chat. I'm going to go ahead and put the link into the chat right now for you to get started. If you like what you heard and you want to join Chiro Connect, I'll tell you a little bit right here about what we do. But first, let me grab dude, for real. I have to put in the hold on. I have to get text a code in real time at the single most inopportune times to grab what I want to get the quickest. So let me grab a link for you guys to sign up in case you want to sign up. But anyway, so real quick, here's what we do. We cover newsletters and monthly check-in emails, and then reactivations. So it says here quarterly reactivations, but so we have been just going through massive, and I mean freaking massive amounts of performance data that is changing the way that we handle reactivation campaigns. So in the last month or so, we've been a bit slow and a bit off with it, but not, and I apologize for that. It's not for anything other than the fact that we're in the middle. All right, there's the link to get started. At the very top is the link to my calendar if you want to book with me to talk it out. So now that I've got that done, I'll go back to focusing. Um, so basically, what we've done is from the start of this, what I did in the very beginning was I had I had left my old business behind, and and started a new service, a new email service that I thought something that the docs really needed, because what I had worked at before and what I had built ended up turning into a software That's what my business partners wanted. So that ended up going more of a software route, and I wanted to build something that was hands-on and personable. Um, Hey, oh, I do. I see a DM right here, and that is absolutely possible. If you just jump on my calendar, I'm going to throw this right back in. Give me one sec. I don't want to leave any DMs. There's a direct message. There's a private message feature here, and if you want to just DM me privately, I don't want to close anything out before replying back to everybody. Otherwise, it'll take it away. So I just replied back. Just go ahead and book with me. Uh, Quickest way and easiest way. So, um, so anyway, we'll go back to what I've learned. So basically, we went from like a software premise to then I wanted to prove that human beings could scale a human powered, coupled with technology service to bring the best service possible. And even that has evolved massively. So one of my clients, funny thing, this is like probably I had like a total holy shit freak out moment like 2 days ago. I was going through performance reports still. So for every single month since I started this business, I'll back up just a little. Um, every single month since I started this business, since I've had my very first client who is still with me today, she's amazing. Ever since I've had every single client, every single month, I have personally pulled your performance. I've gone into your account. I pull your reports. I've created my own KPIs. I pulled those KPIs. It's an incredibly manual process. It takes probably about 30 minutes per person to go pull everything that we need to pull. We've done that every month for every client since the day that we started this business. And we have watched those things, identify what makes differences, and worked towards an effective email marketing machine. Um, and and system. So the care system is the system that I put into place. I'm not going to go into the care system today because that's not that's not what we're going down because that's a whole other thing. But you want to connect, activate, retain, and engage. That's the premise of what we do. And we have been able to achieve the successes that we have because we are going in and we are pulling reports and we are looking every single month. Now that we're doing that and we've made changes along the way, I had a doc back in the fall who was like at like a 72% open rate with 2,400 people on his patient. So he has a patient list of around 2,400, and was having like a 71, 72% open rate. When I saw that, and I saw it so consistently, I went back to a year previous, and he was at a 46%. So because we have given so much attention to the content that goes out and what we send your patients, where we took that dog from 46% open rate to a 74% open rate. Now, you're sitting here thinking, okay, what the hell does that have to do with me? Like, what's that got to do with my schedule? That's 74% of his patient list. I don't know what 74% of 2,400 is, but it's a freaking lot. And that's how many, if somebody can do that math and wants to put it in the chat, by all means, it's a lot. But that's how many people are reading his emails every single month. Now, that was in November. Dun dun dun. In January, and this was in my newsletter this morning. It's in my Inside with Narissa. So Inside Chiro Connect with Narissa is a section in my newsletter that I'm like passionately, spill my hopes and dreams and everything I love and know in. But I talked about this one this morning. So this doc gets with me in January and says, "Oh, we're moving our clinic." Well, like you just dashed every dream I ever had because I'm working so hard to improve. Like 71% open rate is freaking nuts. I get to like January, we're at a 72%, So come February and I'm going to start. So let me back up why this dashed my dreams. I'll let that part out is that he comes to me and he says, I've got this unsubscribe list that are not really unsubscribed. These are just people that we don't email regular emails to. We email them only when it's something important. There's like, I don't know, 11 or 1,200 people on that list, something like that. So what ends up happening is he comes to me and he's like, "We're moving. I need you to email all of them now, the big list. And I want you to email tell them I'm moving." So we go through, we build out a we're moving campaign. We email that to everybody. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, there's no way that we're going to add 50% to this list, and then keep our same open rate momentum that we had, because adding another 1,200 people is probably going to, half of those are going to open. So it's going to tank my open rate or whatever. I start like going through the negative stuff. My ADHD was like, oh, sorry, I almost said the bad word. The F word is what the F word is where my little brain was going with that. So no, what happens is I immediately was like, okay, I don't really actually care about, I do care, but it's more important to get the message out. So he built a really nice We're Moving page on his website. We sent a We're Moving campaign. What the F word if it did not keep the same open rate? So y'all, we sent almost 20,000. Well, it was almost. We were at we had made it up to 74%. No, I was wrong about that. We had made it up to 73% and we stayed at 73%. And that is not, I went back and I checked it like 3 times. I double checked all the data because I was like, there's no way that it's the same. I would need to at least be off some. And no, I went and looked and it's the same. So I can only say it's the attention to detail and the fact that we pull performance reports that has led us to this. We've got docs having 59%. Your average monthly opens right now for us are like 50 to 70%. So if you're above the 70%, you're killing it. If you're below below like 50%, like I'm getting you there as soon as possible. So I'm taking everything we've learned and we're applying it across the board, and that's going to include reactivation campaigns. So if you're if you're still with me, God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But one thing I do want to tell you and go on down the list here is that what makes us different. You know what? Let's just hold on. Actually, what I think that we should do really quick is just go ahead and look at our newsletter real fast. I could show you this week's, but I'm going to show you last week's because it's my favorite. Get Chiro Connect /newsletter. So I'll also drop this into the chat so that y'all have this link. If you want to see what our newsletter looks like, and then I'm going to share my screen. So how do I do this here? Oh my gosh, I just like leaned in and scratched my nose. I'm so sorry. Let's look here. Share. All right. So this is what our newsletter looked like last week. This is my favorite little dermy dude header. So I've kept this one. Normally on Wednesdays, I try to put the current newsletter up here, but I just didn't have time to do it because, my webinar is today, and this little guy is just my favorite. So here's what we do just to kind of show you what's different about our newsletters. So you'll see that your logo would go here, and then we have a header image here that's topic specific. And like a ton of strategy goes into this. There's not a single word, section, anything about this newsletter that is not extreme strategized. So just so you know that's where all of these last 2 years and month after month after month of performance review. And now in 2026, we're really taking it next level with AI. We're using AI to go in. I'm uploading all of the data into AI, much deeper, detailed data. We're extracting the data from every single campaign that gets sent for every single client. That's all going into AI for a greater performance review so that we can make a next level. Like I've taken it as far as I can, almost not really, but feeling like I've taken it from 46 to 74% or 73%. Feels like that lift that I've done personally, not asking AI for help, is like unbelievable. So now that I feel like I've trained my AI so far, I've trained the AI to this degree that I feel like I can now put that performance in there, and now we're getting even greater review and greater insight on what we need to do next. So this is a constant ongoing thing. But anyway, we'll get back to our newsletter. So every single thing about this is strategized. Everything. So you've got your header, and then we have patient education here. Patient education, it always falls in threes. There's always a why it matters and a try this. There's always a what this means for you, always what our recommendation is. And then we have a call to action section here. You're going to have your photos here. This is just this is Dr. Allen. Her photo is right here. And we swap this out all the time. So sometimes her dog Murphy is in clinic with her. So sometimes we've got Murphy here. Sometimes we have other team members here, other providers here. It just depends. This particular week it was Dr. Allen, and a couple of the things are missing just because it's a screenshot. But normally her name is right here. Whoever's there, you'll have your name or a team. Sometimes it's a team photo, and then we always have your buttons. So we have your buttons are to book online, to call. We have some docs that like to text. Some docs have only one button. It's totally, what works best for your clinic. And then this is your week of wellness calendar. The week of wellness calendar stems from, if any of you, so some of you docs may be around long enough to remember Amplified. That was a social media platform. I was also uh, there for that team. So I was partnered up with that. And I took the most popular content that we ever had back then. We have 15,000 docs using that platform. And we had, I don't even know at this point, I can't remember how many millions. It was like in the hundreds of millions of patients that were in there. And the most popular content that we ever shared was a wellness calendar. And it was a PDF monthly calendar that docs would literally print out. I saw it in a magazine. I saw like a cool calendar in a magazine and thought, I should turn that into like an online PDF for docs to share with their patients and make like a wellness calendars, like a cool idea. And docs would tape that up on their wall. So now, fast forward, it's probably been 10, 12 years ago, fast forward to 2026, and I've turned this into a weekly wellness calendar. So for right now, some docs have asked me, what does it do? It doesn't do anything. It makes your people feel good. That's what it does. It makes your patients feel good. So it's the number one feature. It's the number one feedback we get. Basically, a lot of chiropractic patients they're wellness oriented. You know what your ideal patients are like, and they see a wellness oriented calendar, and I go to great lengths for this calendar. So just to throw it in here, I just kind of want to cover it a little bit. It's just good for you to know. So what we cover here is Johnny Appleseed. It was Johnny Appleseed Day. Now I have clients who are in Canada and the UK. We have international clients. I had an optional graphic that we swapped out for that. Then we had a did you know. Now we've got to take 60 seconds to drop your shoulders and unclench your jaw. Then it was pie day, and now dust your house, because that goes with the allergen above. In the copy of the patient education, we tie that to one of those things, are tied to dusting, a nice little spring cleaning, a dusting. We reference that on Sunday. Now sinus pressure, here's what that actually means. And then seasonal, it's St. Patrick's Day. So if there's something in America and you are a Canadian doc or in another part of the world, we swap those out. And generally, so some things are worldwide, some things are not. So I typically, what I try to do is I try to take all of these. Sometimes we put like the full moon in. I try to take them all and bounce off of what's applicable in other countries versus the US. So we are cognizant of that. I just wanted to include that here. And then for this doc, you'll see here that this is one of her social posts. I just snagged this from her Facebook and pulled it in. If you post a social or you have a service posting for you, I try to pull those. If you don't, we create a graphic here, and you are more than welcome to use the graphic that we create and then post that to your social. We have that happen quite a bit. So about half of our clients post to social and we grab their stuff and pop it in. The other half just use what we created for the week. And usually that graphic is something that's going to tie in to the weekly topic. And now we've got buttons again, and then also links to your social, and that closes out your newsletter. So this was the last week was allergy. Today, I'll actually, let me stop showing this one and I'll show you really quick. Let me find one. There we go. That I know is no problem for me to share. All right. I just want to make sure I'm only sharing, docs who would want to be shared. Share screen. Let's go back to that one. All right. Put my glasses back on. All right. Okay, so what you should see here is this was this week's. Actually, I'll show you real quick. So this is women. So it's um, Women's History Month. March is Women's History Month. So we went on to women's care. So you'll see here, this is, we're talking about women's care and women's health. So we go kind of, we hit our 3 points again. We've got a what this means for you and our recommendation. We've got our call to action from our docs. We've got our calendar here again. We're welcoming spring this week. So exciting. Sunday meal prep. Um, Nervous system fatigue is our definition of the week. We always have a definition. We always have a did you know, and then the rest, we go with it. Saturday is Common Courtesy Day. So that's just a little fun thing that we like to add. So all of this is relevant and it's all timely. And this is actually, Saturday, March 21st is literally Common Courtesy Day. So those are the fun attention things that we pull in that really go a long way for that open rate, because what we're doing is training your patients to come in every single week and want to look at this calendar and see what's up. So here is the social post that I created and put at the bottom of the newsletter this week. So for docs that did not have social posting for me to pull in, this is what went out for them. And then some of them just snag this and share it to their social, up to them. So, all right, y'all, we're back to it. So here's a quick example. We'll just kind of close this up of exactly, kind of what your calendar could look like. You'll have, weekly newsletters go out on Wednesday. We'd have monthly check-in, targeted campaigns. It kind of depends on all of that. So this is what it looks like to work with us. We handle all this for you, and then we work with your CA and your team. And a lot of times we work directly with the docs. This is what we're trying to transition over to CAs. However, if you don't have a CA or you don't have a front desk, we have a good chunk of docs that don't even have a CA or a front desk, and they may be on this call just because it's them handling this. And so when it's you handling this, we work directly with you as well. It's just I'm happening to be doing this training for CAs, but that just does not mean that you're excluded from doing these things. So that's it, y'all. That's pretty much where I'm at. That's all I've got for you. This went way longer than I intended, and skip around in the replay. Book a call with me if you have questions and you want to discuss any of this. Book a call. We can talk it out. Even if you're DIYing and you want to book the call because you want to figure out how to do this on your own, book the call. Like, I have enough time in my life that I can spend 15 minutes helping you, figure out how to do this, because that's what's most important. Like, I've not worked in chiropractic marketing because I don't believe in the mission of chiropractic. It's because we sent over 1 million emails last month. So last month in a short month, short month, by the way, and February is a short month, and we sent over 1 million emails. And of those over 1 million emails, over almost 59% of them, almost 60% of them was open and consumed. And that is just powerful. Like, you can't get any more powerful than that. So this is what I've got for you. If you've got questions, email them to me, book a call. So I don't want to keep on, going on and on and on. I'll let you let you finish up. If you're still here with me, thank you. I appreciate you. If you're my client, thank you. I appreciate you. And if you're thinking about joining us, our service is $299 a month. It includes everything that I've been talking about. As far as email is concerned, there are no contracts, there are no setup fees, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. So far, I've never had to give that, knock on wood. And if you want to get started and you want to just go ahead and join, skip the line or whatever, go ahead and join now. I did drop the link in there. And then if you have questions or you just need help, if you're one of my clients and you want to talk about this further, if you're a CA of one of my clients and you want to talk about this further, certainly go ahead and jump on schedule. Just so you know, just so that my clients know, if you happen to still be here, just so my clients know, once I get my training fully done and I'm more deeper into it, especially the second part of my training, which is the specific email how to use our system part of the training, that training will be free to all of you. I will pre-record that and have everything that your team needs to know there. I don't have all of that worked out just yet because this is so new, but I'll be there in a month from now. So in a month from now, I will have a good bit of training for you guys. and then anyone who comes on board. So if you join us, that's my spiel. Um, you know, that's it, y'all. I was just condensed. Like, I didn't even condense all 6 hours because we didn't even get to the second part. I condensed 3 hours into an hour and 20 minutes. It's going to take me forever just to condense down to 6 hours from everything that I want to say on this topic. So, if this sparked any questions, like I said, let me know. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to check the chat. Um, Thank you, Trista. Thank you so much. You're just a pleasure to work with. You're such a pleasure. I see these memes last night. I almost at like probably 11 o'clock last night. I was on Instagram and I was like, just like flicking through my little Instagram. Yesterday was such a long work day. We started working at like 8 o'clock yesterday morning and closed my laptop at like probably 10, 50 last night. So close my laptop. I'm done. I'm exhausted. And I'm just like, you know, brain dead scrolling, whatever that is called. I can't remember, whatever they call it, where you're just like looking through reels or whatever. I'm looking through reels and I saw one and it was so funny. And it was like a woman and it's like they're talking about the when you're a business owner and you're having a breakdown, but then your phone, like a ping goes off because you get a message from a client. So your breakdown stops. And then when you're done, you go back into breakdown. That's sometimes what I feel like. So sometimes when Trista, when I get messages from you, it's sometimes like it's so funny because I get like a Facebook message. I'll get my little ping come in, and I'm like, okay, stop my breakdown. Let's see who this is, and it's you. It was you the other night about the photo, and it was so funny that I had that little moment. I almost sent you that. It was like 11 o'clock last night. I didn't want to make your phone go off, but anywho, um, anyway, so thank y'all for being here. If you've got questions, let me know. I'm going to hang up, let y'all get back to it. I'm going to go eat. I'm starving. And hopefully I'll see y'all pop up on my calendar and talk soon. Take care.